This is Scott Becker with the Becker Business and the Becker Private Equity Podcast. So the discussion today is politics and immigration. So I said something yesterday on X, which essentially went the way of this, that H-1B visas and legal immigration aren't really the problem, but the bigger problem is illegal immigration and the fact that we had open borders for 4 years or so, and a lot of illegal immigrants came in. So here you make this kind of statement that I think is fairly centrist, i.e., that legal immigration is not the problem. H-1B visas aren't really the problem, though, yes, probably abuse some on college campuses. That's probably right. But that illegal immigration and open borders was a problem. And so I wake up this morning, and this was in my business newsletter, sort of at the end of the business newsletter. And I woke up this morning just being lambasted by somebody saying that you are way too Democrat and liberal for me, and that I'm unsubscribing from the newsletter. And again, we actually appreciate the criticism when somebody writes in because it means people are actually reading the newsletter. So I was pleased to see them reading the newsletter and writing in. Now, the concept of saying that I'm too liberal and democratic would be news, of course, to my children who think that I'm an old guy who is not liberal or democratic at all. But it is what it is. I view myself as a traditional centrist, socially liberal, fiscally conservative. And of course, the world doesn't allow that mix of views today, but I view myself as quite frankly very centrist. But to be called a Democrat, it reminds me of that TikTok where people sort of, the kid comes home crying from school. Oh my God, mommy, what's wrong? And then the kid says back to the mom, little Susie or little somebody called me a Democrat. And again, I will not cry. I'm fine. I don't really care if I'm called a Democrat or Republican, wherever. I know what my political views are. They're somewhat centrist. But I've not been called out for being too liberal or too Democratic or called a Democrat probably in 4 to 5 decades, and I'm not that old as it is. Anyways, I found the politics today and the views of what is one way or the other to be remarkable. I expect to get lambasted on the left for saying that illegal immigration is bad and we need to close borders. Instead, I was totally lambasted on the right, and I didn't really see that coming. In any event, thank you for listening. But I did get lambasted on Twitter for the same comment yesterday about H-1B visas aren't a real problem and legal immigration is fine. And that was, there are a pool of people on Twitter that don't like any kind of immigration, but we're all immigrants one way or another. So this concept of of that where anti-immigrant is just insane, or people being anti-immigrant is insane. I'm not anti-immigrant at all. In any event, thank you for listening to the Becker Business, the Becker Private Equity Podcast. We hope you find this interesting. We find the world to be fascinating. Thank you for listening.